Holo number 14 is Slow King, and Slow King was illustrated by Sugimori. In a first edition PSA 10, the pop is 17, and that 17 is out of 3,774. Now, if we look at the data next to me, the last sold was about $50,000. Yes, $50,000. And the average price for this card in a first edition PSA 10 is currently $21K. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this Pokemon card and these prices. Are they overpriced? Are they just right? Or you think it's too cheap? Let me know. Now, for the regular edition of Slowking in a PSA 10, it currently has a PSA 10 pop of only 8, a very low PSA 10 pop number. Again, that is only 8, and that 8 is out of 3,137. According to this graph, the average price for this card is currently about $5,000, and the last sold is currently 7K. Now let's look at some public sales according to PSA to see if those prices are justified. We have in 2022 we had it going for 6,000. In 2024 it went all the way down to about 3,400, and then last year in 2025 it was about 7K. Let me know your thoughts on this data. Do you think this card is underpriced? Do you think it's overvalued? Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think? Holo number 15 is Steelix, and this Steelix was illustrated by Sugimori. The PSA 10 pop of this card in a first edition of PSA 10 is currently 288, and that 288 is out of 2,686. Now let's look at this chart. According to PSA, the average price for this card is around $800, and the most recent was going for about $2,500. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think this price is justified, or you think it's underpriced right now? Now, for the regular edition of Steelix, the PSA 10 pop is currently 79, and that 79 is out of 1,946. According to this chart, the average price of this card in a regular edition of PSA 10 is $300, and the most recent price of this card has gone for about $1,200. Let me know your thoughts on the prices and on this Pokemon card. It's such an iconic card, isn't it? Holo number 16 is one of my favorite Pokemons of all time, Togetic. And this Togetic was illustrated by Sugimori. The first edition of PSA 10 pop of his card is currently 152, and that is out of 2,471. According to this chart, in a first edition of PSA 10 has an average price of $1,000, and the last sold was for around $3,000. Let's look at some public sales of this card. These last sales, and they all happened this year. In April, it was for $3,900. Same month, we had another one for $4,200. Went down next month in May at $4K. In May again, it went all the way down to $3,200. And we had another one for about $3,000. So the price is kind of all over the place right now. In the comments, what would you price this card at? It seems the price is kind of up and down and speculative. So let me know, what would you pay for a Togetic in a first edition of PSA 10? Now, of course, for the regular edition of his Togetic, the PSA 10 pop is 48, and that 48 is out of 1,982. According to this graph, Togetic in a regular edition of PSA 10 has an average price of $700, and the most recent sale of this card in a PSA 10 regular was currently $2,300. Let me know your thoughts on this card and the prices of this card right now in the comments. Holo number 17 is Typhlosion, and this Typhlosion was illustrated by Yoshida. If you don't know about Typhlosion 17, you need to know. It's one of the most iconic, expensive cards in the Neo set because it is just so hard to get in a PSA 10. Check us out. The first edition of PSA 10 pop of Typhlosion 17 is only 13, and that 13 is out of 3,333. Obviously, only having a PSA 10 pop of 13 PSA does not have really much recorded sales data of this card. But look, we have in 2018, we had this card going for an offer around $205, and I'm sure they declined that. And if they accepted it, hey, I know they definitely messed up on that one. Then you had an offer in 2025 of around 3K, and I'm pretty sure they refused that. So let me know in your comments. What would you pay for Typhlosion 17 in a first edition PSA 10? Now for the regular edition of Typhlosion, this has an even lower PSA 10 pop than the first edition. This has a PSA 10 pop of only 4, and that 4 is out of 4,063. Obviously, only having 4 PSA 10s, I cannot get any data on this Typhlosion 17. So you guys in the comments, let me know in the comments, what would you pay for Typhlosion 17 in a regular edition of PSA 10? Holo number 18 is Typhlosion, and Typhlosion was illustrated by Sugimori. The PSA 10 pop of this card in a first edition is currently 149, and that 149 is out of 2,648. According to the data from PSA, the most recent price of this card is $5,400, and it has an average price in a first edition PSA 10 of around $1,900. Let me know your thoughts on this card and the prices. Are they justified? Do you like this Pokemon card? Please let me know. Now, of course, for the regular edition of Typhlosion, it has a PSA 10 pop of 65, and that 65 is out of 2,946. According to the data, in a regular edition of PSA 10 has an average price of about $800, and the most recent price of this card was for about 2K. Let me know, what would you pay for this card in a regular edition of PSA 10? Well, there you have it, Pokemon collectors. Another Pokemon video comes to an end. We just covered the rest of the holos from the 2000 Pokemon Neo Genesis set. In the comments, let me know which of these holos we covered today was your favorite and which of these prices was the most shocking. And again, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.